So I am so excited to have the beautiful Luge with us today. This is an incredible woman who I've had the privilege of knowing this year, getting to know really well and working with. And yeah, it's just so awesome to see how much you've grown as a human. And you're someone who's just always committed to doing the work. I just love that about you, Luge. Like, it's like, cool, yeah, I get that. I got it. Move. What's the next thing? And you're such an incredible human. So thank you for joining us today, and excited to share a little bit about your journey and all the magic that you're creating now. So just for anyone listening, do you just want to create, where you're tuning in from and the work you're doing and a little bit about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thanks for having me. So I'm tuning in from Auckland, and I have started my own business. I'm just going to launch straight into that with the help of the lovely Bryony. And effectively, I came off a corporate career where I was a chartered accountant, and I was just hustling for about 4.5 years. And I was just completely and utterly burnt out. So following leaving that job, I actually traveled for a year in South America, which was incredible, and just like probably just one of the best things I've done, just to really disconnect and reflect what I wanted to do. And effectively through that trip, I realized that I wanted to have my own business. But over and over again, I would say like, no, like I'm not experienced enough. This corporate experience that you have, like, isn't enough. Like, of course you can't go out on your own. Look at what all your colleagues are doing. You can't do that. So I came back home. I came back to New Zealand, and I said, no, like I want to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I want to do it. But these thoughts were coming over and over again, that I couldn't start this business. I didn't have enough experience. I needed like another certification. I needed to like prove to people in some way that I was capable enough of starting this business. So that's what led me to Bryony. And I fast forward a little bit, because I did HPW, and then following that program, I launched my own business, which is called Naked Balance. And what Naked Balance does is it's an operations and finance strategist. I'm an operations and finance strategist through Naked Balance, and I help small online businesses effectively create a plan, which leads to a direction, which in turn leads to massive results. So I partner with people with big ideas to bring those ideas to life, pretty much. Yeah. So that was a really long introduction.
Amazing. No, it's so cool, right? And it's so good for anyone listening, because I think it's so relevant, and so many parts of that story, like when we're seeking that kind of, I need something more for my life, often we do go traveling, which is awesome, right? And that's like part of your journey, was like that soul searching. Do you think when you were overseas traveling, like, was it the freedom, like the feeling of freedom, that had you realize like, okay, I want something of my
own? Yes and no. I think I had always wanted something on my own, but I just had never really allowed myself to go there. I said, maybe after I have 10 years of corporate experience, then I'll launch something of my own. Like that always lived in me, but I never really allowed myself to say, no, I'm going to do it now. Like I needed something else in order to actually do it.
Yeah, I think, and it's so common, right? For so many people, it's like, I think there's so much around, when I get there, then I can do it. And it's permission. It's like actually just giving yourself permission of like, actually, I want it now. Like, I can, right? And I remember when we first spoke, and I do remember we were talking about HPW, and obviously HPW is a lot more around like the mindset, the confidence, the belief systems, that go behind that stuff. And I remember you were sitting in that place of like, do I need another like technical? Should I be investing in something more like for the accreditation? And I think that's so common when we come from corporate backgrounds. You're from corporate accounting, I'm from corporate law. It's like, we were trained to get this piece of paper that told us we could do that thing. Whereas when you're going into something of your own, and like what you've created with Naked Balance, like there's not real, I mean, there's so many skills which you already had, but it's like, there's not really a piece of paper that ever says like, okay, you now have permission, right? It's all within. So it's like, yeah, amazing. So yeah,
100%.
love that.
Yeah.
Okay, and cool. And then so you joined HPW, and tell us a little bit about like your experience of that. I mean, was it what you thought it was going to be? Had you done any coaching stuff before? And yeah, how was that experience for you?
Um, no, first of all, I hadn't done any coaching before. It was completely new. The first time I heard of coaching was when I ran into your Instagram page. So it was super new. And I went into it effectively with no real expectations, just knowing that where my mindset was at that moment, I couldn't really launch a business because I was so stuck on the fact that I didn't have enough experience, that people were going to think that I wasn't capable enough. Like, who is this girl that after like working 4.5 years of a corporate job thinks she can start her own business? And that kept repeating over and over again in my mind, like, no, like you can't do it. What are people going to think? So going into HPW, it was a leap for me because like I even remember saying in the discovery call that it felt really indulgent. Like I used that word. I said, it feels really indulgent to like spend this money on myself, but even give myself this, right? But I just had to lean into it because I had this thing that I knew I really wanted to do, like deep inside. I knew I wanted to start this business. And then I saw these obstacles off myself, effectively, just my own head. And I just kind of leaned into the trust after our discovery call that this is going to be the thing. Like if I don't work on my mindset now, then the business is not going to happen. So I just went into it with no expectations, just leaned into that.
Love that. Amazing. So good. And so for anyone listening, because I think that's such a common thing around experience and accreditations, right? And particularly a lot of the clients that I work with that have more formal or university education training and stuff. And so how for you in the program, you have to cast your mind back. So I know sometimes it can be like, oh, I don't really know how I actually got over that. But like, how did you actually shift that? What do you think made the difference that was like, okay, like how did you get through that and then launch Naked Balance? And I remember it was during the program, right, that you got it live. Yeah. So what happened in that actual shift for you?
I think my biggest learning and where the actual shift came from was in realizing that I had a choice and that I had full agency of my life and the life that I wanted to create, and that I could do it right now, and that I had everything I needed like right now. And that's what I didn't believe before, like that I needed another qualification in order to validate me, so then other people would then see me as capable and then I could do it. But through doing HBW, I realized like, no, like I have everything I need right now. Like the experiences that have led me to this moment are enough for me to get this thing that I want in order to build a life that I want to have. And I have the choice to take action in order to build that life. But before actually doing the program, I didn't actually think I had that agency, right? I thought other people had to give me this permission, that had to believe in me, that had to see me as capable enough to actually do the thing. But as soon as I let that go and realized that all the choice lied within me and that I could create my own life and that it didn't have to be another corporate job like my peers were going into after having this experience, I could forge my own path. So that was sort of the biggest breakthrough, because as soon as I had that, then it was like, oh yeah, then I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. I just need to actually do it.
It's funny that flip, isn't it? It's like it is this flip, and we kind of liken it to like, it's almost like, and previously you're like in the driver's seat of your life. It's like life's kind of guiding you, everything's kind of happening to you to some degree, people are determining your outcomes, and then suddenly there's this like getting that you're the creator of your reality, and then you're in the driver's seat, and it's like, okay, cool, actually I'm driving this thing regardless of what's happening around me, the economy, what other people think, which is a big thing we have to overcome. It's like, I'm driving this, right? And I remember even like when you got there and you just like, yeah, you got your Instagram live, you were like showing up, like your beautiful face on your stories. I was like, there she is, you know. It was like, yeah, I'm here, I'm going to take up space, I am qualified. And for anyone listening, like Luge is like insanely qualified. She's an absolute weapon at everything she does. And we'll jam on a little bit more about what you're doing with Naked Balance now, but it's like, yeah, it's just you getting that right. And it's, yeah, so massive. And I guess having the accountability as well, like having, you know, the community and people around you being like, where is that? We're waiting, you know. It's so powerful. Yeah.
Just having all the other ladies in that same vibe, like we're doing it, we're changing it, we want to make these shifts regardless of what the shifts actually are. Just being in that community was just, it was life-changing.
To me, it's the energy together, which I think, yeah, and that's why I love the group and the community piece, because like I've done a lot of private coaching myself, and I've done a lot of kind of like lone wolf introspection, but there's only so much energy you can generate on your own. And I think in your cohort there was like people launching like podcasts, and everyone was like commenting on everyone's stuff, and it's like you feel the sense of safety as well, right? You're like, actually I'm safe, I've got a whole sisterhood behind me like supporting me in this, which is really, yeah, so powerful. Amazing. And then for you, so you shifted that, you got in the driver's seat, you started creating. So tell us about that first piece around like Naked Balance, because I know, you know, anyone who launches something knows how challenging it is, but what did you come up against? I guess the accreditation piece was like the experience piece was like that first massive hurdle to start. And then what have you did you discover, and have you discovered since in building Naked Balance?
Yeah, I think, after I got over that I was qualified enough, then it was actually like putting the thing out into the world, right? Which was the most difficult piece. And for me, that came through the first thing that I launched, which was like my Instagram page. And like, I'm a super detail orientated person and had real strong perfectionist tendencies. So just actually getting over the line and actually putting it out to the public, and not just telling you about it and the cohort about it, and actually putting it out was just also a massive, like a huge hurdle that I had to overcome. So I effectively just planned this Instagram launch, but it was great because I had this community behind me that believed in me. I had you behind me, and I had the accountability, right? Because I was like, I said I'd do it by this date, and then all the ladies are like, yeah, this is going to be the date. This is when you're going to do it. So that isn't to say it wasn't still like a massive challenge to overcome. I'm pretty sure I had a big cry after I like first posted on Instagram. But it's incredible. It's incredible now that the things that felt difficult then are the things that you do with so much ease now. And that in itself is an incredible lesson, right? Because as soon as you start taking action, and it feels really freaking hard. Like it feels really like so much resistance in that moment, like posting that first Instagram post. It felt like a huge deal. I had a huge cry about it, right? But now, like that's easy. That is just something that I do. So over and over again, business is challenging, right? Like over and over again, it is like, it does require me to step out of my comfort zone, to take this action that I'm resisting. But I have this evidence that like I've taken uncomfortable action in the past, and look at what it led to, you know, like I sent that person that DM and they became my client. So why can I do that again? You know, like why can I take bigger leaps? Why can I pitch myself to this person? So the way that Naked Balance has unfolded now is effectively rooted on that. Just me like taking these uncomfortable actions over and over again, and then leading to new clients, and then doing the work for that client and learning the things that I'm incredible at, and building on that and seeing how I'm going to serve the next client. So it's a ride. Like it's a ride, but I'm here. I'm not hopping off.
I love that. And they do say, you know, rocket ships like use the most fuel in the first 3 seconds. And I think it's such a good metaphor for life. It's like when we start something, like starting that, like it's the biggest hurdle, right? It takes everything. It takes all our courage, all our, our egos like raging, that little inner voice is telling us all these things, and it takes everything to get over that. And then you get that momentum. And I love what you said, like, yeah, it's like, business is relentless. Like, there's always a new thing, and even when we solve one problem in life, there's another problem, right? That's just how we are humans, and because we're always growing as people and businesses, there'll always be a new problem to solve. But it's kind of falling in love with that and going, okay, well, who do I need to become, or what do I need to do to get over that? So it's incredible. Love that about you, is you have a real willingness, which I think is really important for anyone listening to this. It's like, there will be resistance and there will be fear. Like, anything worth doing has that, right? Yeah. If it doesn't, sometimes I'm like, it's probably not the thing. Like, if you don't have that at all, you probably don't care that much about it. Whereas, like, when you're creating something, or birthing this beautiful business into the world, it's like you care so much. So there'll be a lot of fear and there'll be a lot of resistance, and it's actually just the willingness to be like, okay, super resistant, and I'm gonna do it anyway. And it's like, and it's like, and bang on, of the things that used to terrify you don't scare you anymore. Because I remember when I first did Instagram stories, like a video, and I did it I said a 30-day challenge. You kind of have to create your own accountability in business, right? And I was like, 30 days. I remember one night it was like 11 p.m. and I'm like, I hadn't done my story for the day, and I like got on. I'm like, hello, like, but I'm like crying on my bed, like, I was like to my partner, like, I don't want to do it, like, and then I'm like, hey guys, like, just doing my story for the day. And now, like, you can just do them anywhere. It's like very second nature. So once you train yourself in taking that action, right, then it becomes so much easier, which is so incredible. And so tell us a little bit about, so you did HPW, and then after that, because I know you've done some other coaching, do you go into other coaching programs? Like, how have you kept your own momentum? Because I know that's a question for a lot of people when they come into the coaching space now. It's like, cool, well, what happens after the 8 weeks? So curious for you, what structures did you set up? I know you've got some awesome, like, business sisters that you connect with, and like, how did you keep growing and developing yourself after the program?
So, well, firstly, I was lucky and continue to be very lucky that my accountability buddy in the program is still my accountability buddy today. Like, 6 months later, we still catch up fortnightly, and we just hold each other accountable to the things that we're trying to achieve, and we both have businesses going, so that's incredible. And it's just, I'm so grateful to have that connection. And then, it's just all in the community, right? So I think another super important lesson being HPW is being in this cohort with so many other women and just connecting with them at this, like, at such an incredible level. And then you just see what's possible, that these people are out there, they exist, and they're out to, like, better themselves and achieve these things as well. So it just sets the tone that these people are out there. Just put yourself out there and reach out to them. So in that, I've built myself this, like, I've been blessed enough to have this incredible business community as well that I can lean on for support, which has been great. But on top of that, I every so often I message Bri and I'm like, oh yeah, just going through this module.
Yes, which is so important, right? Because I think all of that, like, it's like you discover, like you said, you discover in the community, like, deeper relationships. And I think that was huge for me too when I got into the personal development world. It was like, I probably realized, as much as I love my friends, we kind of connected on one level. And I think when you're in a program like HPW or anything similar, like, you connect at such, like, a heart, ambitious, your visions, your fears, like, and I think, and exactly what you said, yes, it's the sisters in that cohort, but you realize, if there's this, there's more, right? And so you start to build around you those type of relationships, because you're like, okay, I've experienced that kind of depth now, I'm going to create that in my life, which is so huge post coaching programs as well, is that you have, and that's why I love the group, is like that you have people to keep moving with, yeah, and not just a chit chat or a catch up. It's like you said, your accountability buddy from the program. It's like we be holding each other, like we're not there to just, you know, listen to each other's stories or excuses. Like we're there to really take a stand for each other and what we're here for. So that's amazing. Yeah, and integration, right? When you do a program, there's what you'll get, and then you can look back over things and be like, oh, whoa, I didn't even hear that the first time because I was in such a different space. So I think that's so important. You know, I reread books, I re-listen to podcasts, like it's like going deep as well. I think we're obsessed with more information. Sometimes it's actually like everything you need, like you said at the start of this call, is right in front of you. It's just actually like being present to all of it, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I find that the program is so rich, having gone through it as well, that, you know, when I need to top up,
yes,
I just find myself going back in there,
yes,
doing a workbook, rewatching a soul bite.
I love that. So good. Yeah, just get a little nudge, little motivation for the day, and then you're off, right? So good. And having those resources as well, because they're different to, I guess, you know, the way the program's designed. It's like, it's, yes, the videos and the concepts, but it's then also how you're going to apply that and what are you going to do with it, which is quite action orientated, which is obviously everything we stand for. So yeah, magical. Amazing. And so now Naked Balance, you're building, you're growing, and so you're doing the ops and financial strategy stuff. And what's the vision with Naked Balance? Tell us, where are you I know that's like a question some entrepreneurs hate. They're like, oh gosh, just go around folds. But anyone listening, like, how can they find out more about what you're doing, and you know, maybe people want to work with you, like what's the options with that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So effectively, the vision for Naked Balance is we want to bring incredible ideas to life. So we want to partner with really conscious, like, entrepreneurs that just have amazing ideas, and that perhaps they're already putting it out into the world, but maybe in the process of doing that, they're feeling really overwhelmed and really burnt out themselves, right? And they're just looking for someone who will support with them so they can continue doing the things that they really love, which is actually connecting with their clients and building new ideas. But the back end stuff, the business stuff, is just really exhausting, and perhaps like not their zone of genius, because they're good at the ideas and at the client stuff. So in that sense, Naked Balance is effectively that partner, is someone that works together to build those foundations with you and your business, so it supports you to make those ideas thrive. So to find me, you can find me on Instagram. That's the best place. I got those first posts up through HPW, and that's where I continue to stay. And the vision for Naked Balance is exactly that: is to continue to partner with incredible entrepreneurs who are doing incredible things and that are just looking to build those business foundations to just take themselves to the next level.
And I love, yeah. So I know Luge, I know who people that are working with Luge, and I know that you have transformed businesses from ideas and concepts into a reality through strategies, through plans, through ops. And you know, the other thing is being financially sustainable, right? And it's like, and that's one of your secret superpowers from coming from all that accounting background, is like you do actually have that lens, which I think is so important. So many people start businesses for freedom and then become kind of a prisoner to their business, or they're not sustainable. And so having someone like you just come in and be that, maybe more left brain, like, let's get this all sorted, you know, it's so incredible. And yeah, just so glad that you took the leap, that you backed yourself, and that you know that you have everything you need to create, because I know there's so many people benefiting from your work in the world. And thank you for doing that, and just being someone who's just out there. You know, everyone should just go follow Luge, because you're just such a go-getter. You're someone, I know, I know our high performers have dark sides of our go-getter gifts, which is that we struggle to relax and rest. And yeah, it's really incredible to see how much you've grown, and thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thank you for having me.